My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. I just blew out Jay's ears. Welcome to Joe Knows South Lake. I am Joe Carlisle. I hope you're having a good day. I think I just gave Jay a headache.
I'm okay.
Yeah. You'll get your hearing back in an hour or so, right?
What?
Look, we have a great today. I want to welcome you to a happy South Lake morning. I'm feeling really good today. We have a great guest. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about National Support Your Chamber of Commerce Day. We're going to talk about National Bosses Day. We are going to have a cup of Joe, continuing our series on success this week. And we are going to have as our guest Chuck Broadway, who is the chief of the Clermont Police Department. This guy has a long, storied career in law enforcement. He's done some amazing things with our police department, and I'm really excited to hear from him about what's going on locally. And we'll hear from our family of sponsors. But when we get back, we'll get started. Don't go away. I'll see you in a minute.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy with me? One review of your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
And welcome back. Once again, good to hear from our family of sponsors. My dear friend, Mary Rhodes, the mortgage firm. Look, if you're looking for a mortgage, you're thinking about buying a house, you should be calling her because she can direct you and get you approved. So today, National Support Your Chamber of Commerce Day. Here in South Lake County, our Chamber of Commerce is the South Lake Chamber of Commerce. It represents all of South Lake County. We have members that range as far up as Leesburg. We have members that range as far over as Winter Garden and Orlando, but it represents South Lake. And I got to tell you something. Our Chamber of Commerce, we have the website up. If you have any questions about it, it's there. Why join? But I'll tell you why to join. All chambers of commerce are not created equally. I have been a member of several chambers, and unfortunately here in Central Florida, many times a chamber can just be a collection of the same 20 people that have been running everything for the last 45 years. And if you have a new business, all they're interested in is your dues. Not here in South Lake. Here in South Lake County, we have a very dynamic chamber. As a matter of fact, much of what Jay and I have done here to get started has been made easier because South Lake TV is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. They made connections for us. They've opened doors for us. They have, in the beginning, they have been a big piece of my guest list. And so if you want to support them, the best way is to use businesses that are members of the chamber. And if you have a business and you're not a member of the chamber, you're missing it. Look, the chamber has a breakfast. We have a very thriving, dynamic breakfast. You can register online. And the cost is, I think, $10 for a member, $15 for a non-member. That's a full breakfast. You can have just coffee for two. But it's a great place to network and come and see what's going on. And if you'd like to come as my guest, give me a call. Reach out to me at the contact information. I'm sure Jay just threw that up there. Reach out to me by email or phone, text, and I'll invite you and I'll meet you there so you have somebody to sit with. Okay, Boss's Day. Look, the big day that's well known is Secretary's Day. And while everybody supports secretaries, we tend to forget that there's a Boss's Day because bosses sometimes get a bad rap. So if you work for somebody, and look, even if you work for yourself, do something nice for your boss. And if you're your own boss, do something nice for yourself. By something nice, I mean, don't leave early. How about offering to buy the boss some flowers or take the boss to lunch? Or do a little extra thing for the boss so they're not quite stressed out. Take something off their shoulders for them so they don't feel like they have to do everything. And maybe even just a quick note. Tell your boss how much you appreciate your job. Every now and then I reach out to my brokers and I tell them how much I love them and how much I appreciate them, what they meant to me in my life. And I'll tell you, they are always touched because I'm sure they don't get that stuff much. So anyways, Boss's Day. Remember your boss. Cup of Joe. What are we going to talk about today on success? It comes up sooner or later. Yesterday we talked about belief. You have to believe in the success you want. But the next step to that belief, it's easy to believe and make dreams and write goals and write affirmations and plans. The hard part is the work. Look, if you're going to be successful at anything, there's going to be some inconvenience, and it might be a little uncomfortable while you're making it happen. Jay and I were just talking about that this morning. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. How about it, Jay?
It's my analogy is the pendulum of life. It's you got to have the swinging back and forth. You got to get used to that because sometimes it's going to swing your way and it's going to be great and nothing can go wrong and everything is perfect, and then other days it swings back the other way, and you have to really, in all honesty, find ways to motivate yourself, because sometimes that is the key. Is you have to stay self-motivated because you can't rely on other people to pick you up. Luckily, I have Joe Carlisle, who I get to hang out with Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning every day, and it's impossible not to be encouraged. But some days are harder than others, and I think that's the same for anyone who's trying to do anything that's forward thinking or anything on their own in a lot of ways. And the Chamber of Commerce day to day, anyone who's a member of the Chamber of Commerce, at some point, if you own that business, you've been trying, at some point you had a vision and you had a dream and you had to pursue it, and that's you had to take that first step, and that is the first step to success, and that's why I'm glad that we're talking about this week. So
I really want to encourage Jay, and we do this every day. I want to say thank you to you because there are days I come in here discouraged about my real estate business or about the show, and because it seems like a lot of hard work, but you're relying on me, and that's kind of a secret. Part of that work is building a network of people that you can help, encourage, and be accountable to. You got to do the work. This is where 90% of people who fail, this is the place they fail, is they want to be successful, but they want it to be easy. They want it to be comfortable and convenient. And sometimes it's just not going to be, at least until and here's the best part. When you learn how to do the uncomfortable part, when you become skilled at the inconvenient part, it's not uncomfortable or inconvenient anymore. So, phone calls. I wasn't comfortable with contracts when I first became a realtor. 10 years in, hundreds of transactions, I'm very comfortable with contracts. I can get them knocked out, and they're done, and they're easy, and I know how they should be done. I can glance over them and look if they're wrong from somebody else. The point is, if you're going to be successful, you need to find out what the work is. Make a list of that when you're making your vision. Put that as part of your plan, learning how to do the work and doing it. Anyways, that's it for success for today. We'll continue with this tomorrow. When we come back, we're going to hear from the family of sponsors again. Love my sponsors. does anybody know I love my sponsors? Have I mentioned that lately? We're going to come back and we're going to meet Charles Broadway, Clermont Chief of Belief, an amazing man. Has been doing amazing things here with the Clermont Police for almost 10 solid years, 23 years in law enforcement. This guy is a guy you need to pay attention to. So, I mean, the police are part of our community and they help make it run smoothly. So I want to say thanks. Pay attention, listen to the sponsors, come right back, and when we get back, he'll be with us. See you in a minute.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clermont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
Welcome back. I am so excited to have Chuck Broadway with us. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Joe. Glad to be here.
Chief and I have kind of danced around getting to know each other a little bit because we run across each other at chamber events and community stuff, and I see him, but we're both very busy guys, so you never really have a chance to sit down and get to know one another.
Sure.
So I'm really excited to have you on the show today. This is we're going to call him Chuck for today. I've gone back and forth between Charles and Chuck, so he said Chuck is okay, so we're going to do. Don't you do that? You call him Chief. I'm going to call him Chuck. Okay. This is Charles Broadway. He is the Chief of Police of Clermont for 9.5 years. He sits on the boards of several organizations, including the Dreamplex, working with learning disabled children, and the Live Well Foundation. He was a special agent supervisor for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for 6.5 years before coming to Clermont.
That's right.
He was a detective with the Gainesville Police Department and a detective with the New York City Police Department, the famous NYPD. He has a bachelor's in business administration and management from St. John's University. Wow.
Yes, sir.
23 years in law enforcement summed up. That almost doesn't do it justice,
Sure.
man. Chief, tell us about why you got into law enforcement, because your degree is in business management, and you started as a security manager.
Sure.
I would assume that was in New York City.
Yes, sir.
And so you were in the city of business.
Mm-hmm.
What made you walk away from that? Because
Right.
I know that when you went into law enforcement, it wasn't for the money.
That's right.
Not New York City,
That's
it wasn't.
right. That's right. As a kid, I always wanted to be a cop. Growing up, I said I wanted to be a police officer. And, my dad, he thought about being a cop after he served in our army, and something he couldn't do for health reasons. And then I also had a friend of mine who became a police officer. We graduated high school together, played football together in high school, and he became a police officer. And when
So
I was
you were both cops.
we were both cops at one time, but before he became a police officer, before I was. And he was encouraging me and says, you really got to do this, greatest job ever. And I was in college at the time and studying business. and thought about traveling to Manhattan every day, working for that big Fortune 500 company or something like that.
$1 million.
Yeah, that's right. But my passion was to really be a police officer. My friend Steven Scouser says, hey, greatest career, greatest job, you're going to love it. You'll be a great police officer. And I enlisted and joined the ranks of the New York City Police Department in 1996.
Now, how long did it take for you to actually become a police officer? I mean, that was, obviously it was NYPD is some of the hard.
Sure.
I know that from my research, NYPD, one of the hardest police departments to actually become a working officer.
Sure.
And a large number of the people who get into the academy wash out.
That's correct. So it probably took about a year to get into the academy.
Wow.
And then the academy is about 6 months.
Really?
In the academy. And then, like you said, a lot of people drop out of the academy as well.
Do they require a degree in New York City?
New York City required a high school diploma. In order to get it promoted or to certain ranks within the agency, you needed some college.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, so you were a detective. You advanced through the ranks.
Sure.
You become a detective, and then 9/11 happens.
Yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Sure. Became a detective. And I just remember a phone call as if it was like yesterday. It was the morning of September 11, 2001. I received a phone call because I was asleep because I worked the night before. And the phone call was basically, Chuck, you have to come back to work because the plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. Rushing to work that day, just couldn't believe what I saw. I was involved in that first day, just total mayhem. So I was involved in helping people get out of the city. People wanted to get into the city to see their loved ones. Cell phones were down, just mayhem. Days after that, I was involved in search and rescue efforts, which sadly led to search and recovery efforts at the World Trade Center. I was also assigned to a landfill on Staten Island, sifting through tons and tons of debris, locating items of sentimental value to give back to people who lost loved ones that day.
Now, you talked about your friend passed away,
Yeah.
Due to a disease from the 9/11
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Was that ever scary for you, man? At least for your wife, I'm probably sure it was.
Absolutely. I remember coming home just smelling like the soot and very just discouraging and very upsetting. My friend who encouraged me to become a police officer, he just passed about 4 years ago. And he died due to inhaling the toxins that I was actually exposed to at the World Trade Center as well. Every year, several officers are dying still today due to being exposed to those dangerous toxins while working at Ground Zero.
So one of the few things Congress has been able to accomplish,
That's right.
that we're all glad to hear,
That's
was the permanence now of the 9/11 fund and protecting those officers.
Absolutely.
Because, sometimes I think cops don't get enough credit because they're not. I was in the Marine Corps, and people always say thank you for your service,
Right.
and I'm like, well, I did 4 years. I was young and dumb. 10 years older, I might have said no, But I think cops many times don't get, and firemen as well, don't get enough credit because they're serving too.
Absolutely.
You guys aren't getting paid millions of dollars.
That's right.
And I mean, if you manage to stay in a department for 25 or 30 years, you might end up with a living wage because of time in service.
That's right.
But, it takes a toll, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I want you to fast forward. So obviously, seeing what you saw on 9/11, I'm sure spurred the rest of your career.
Sure.
You knew you weren't getting out of this.
Right, absolutely.
Right? I mean, because you knew people need you. You had a concept for, you weren't just preventing criminals. I'm sure you saw now that being a cop, you were protecting the country as well.
Absolutely, sure.
So how did that play into the rest of your career and lead you to Clermont?
Sure. Well, when I first became a cop, my whole goal was to say, I really wanted to make a difference. I raised my right hand to swear to serve and to protect. And my goal was to truly make a difference in the lives of other people, make a difference in the community that I serve. 23 years, fast forward today, same goal, same mission as the chief of police. Make a difference in the lives of other people and make a difference in the community that we vow to serve and protect. So here I am today as the chief of police of a great city. Love working with the city of Clermont. We have a great agency, men and women who truly accepted a calling to serve and to protect. One of our philosophies in policing is community policing. I'm very intentional on having my officers engage with our community on non-enforcement engagement or non-enforcement activity. I don't want people just to see the chief of police or our agency when someone's going to jail, something bad happens. I want our community to see us on a daily basis and believe that truly that the police are the community and the community are the police.
Okay, so you and I talked about a little bit about this, and I shared with you, and I'll share with the viewers, that, some years ago, 10, 11 years ago, there was an area of downtown, just east of downtown, the other side of the, I think it's the Oak, is it the Oak Park Cemetery? Oak.
Yes.
Oakwood.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oakhurst. Yes,
Oakhurst.
sure.
The Oakhurst Cemetery was a rough neighborhood. I mean, it was a lot of crime, a lot of drugs. I'm sure you were getting calls in there every single day. And I actually live in that community now. And it is there's a couple of places that could still use improvement.
Sure.
But it's night and day.
Sure.
It's a safe community to raise your kids in. My wife and I, several people on my street are like my wife and I. We're at the later stage in life. Our kids are gone. We're semi-retired. It's just really amazing. And all the houses are, have flowers and gardens, and you just don't see junk and trash. And it's not because of ordinance. It's because people cleaning up their neighborhoods.
Right, that's right.
My neighbors and I, we help each other. I pick up trash from in front of my neighbor's house, and I see people walking, doing it all the time.
Yep.
And people even pick up the refuse from their dogs.
Right. Right.
And that is not something that's normal in an area that used to be what it was.
Right.
And there are communities in Lake County that are still rough.
Sure.
Have always been rough. It doesn't seem no matter what they do, they can't. Tell us how that happened. I mean, I know it didn't happen by accident.
Sure.
Part of it was the market putting homeownership within the price range of people that wanted to live there. But that's not enough.
Right.
Tell us what you guys did
Sure.
to influence that.
That is truly a testimony and a testament of community policing. We saw a need, met with the community there, addressed their needs, worked together with the community to do renovation, to do cleanups. We've had a coffee with a cop there, breakfast with a cop there, where the community got a chance to just interact with the police officers that patrol the area. From there, we also had churches getting involved and various non-for-profit organizations getting involved to help clean up and renovate the area. Now, during that time of those non-enforcement activities, we did have to do some enforcement in reference to some individuals that still possibly wanted to sell drugs in
some
the
hard
area
heads
or be bullies. So it was a multi-pronged approach where we addressed it criminally, but then a lot of our efforts in that area were non-enforcement activities, and together we were able to come up with solutions to see that place thrive and improve all around.
I think one of the things that impressed me is I saw Officer Cologne, who apparently took this on as a project under your guidance.
Sure.
That he said that the biggest complaint you get out there is a noise complaint.
Noise complaints.
Is noise complaints, which is, got to be different. I'm sure the complaints you used to get
Absolutely.
were probably nature of violence or, or drug activity, something like that. And the noise complaints are people just enjoying their parties, and not even loud, obnoxious parties, because I walk that neighborhood at 9:30 at night. It's dead quiet.
Right. Absolutely.
You can even the few people that might go later, they're doing it in good order, and obviously they're part of the community.
Sure.
So it's the people aren't complaining about that.
Absolutely.
The other thing I'd like you to address as part of this community policing, and I shared with you. You have some amazing officers, and I would love the chance to interview Officer Cruz someday if he's willing. Went through a horrible accident, and I heard he's back on the force.
Yes.
That just, most guys would be using that as an opportunity, to get disability for the rest of their lives. But this guy has really. What part were you and your force in supporting him?
Absolutely. Well, he was involved in an off-duty incident where he was burned. Large percentage of his body,
I believe.
At one time, we didn't know if he was going to make it. That's what doctors were telling us. They said because of his youth and because of his physical fitness, is really and prayers, and I believe that in prayers of family,
I was going to say,
and
my
loved
wife
ones.
and I were praying for it. We followed that all on Facebook.
Absolutely, which really brought him through the process. But I remember, and he's doing very well right now. So actually, right now he's got a promotion. He's an actual corporal.
Oh,
He
great.
works evening shift. But I remember when he first
So he
came
works
home from
evening
the
shift.
hospital.
He's free in the morning.
Yes, sir. That's right. But I remember when, and this is just to show a lot about his character and his willing to not give up and a dedication to policing. First day he came from the hospital, when they drove from Gainesville, he stopped at the City Hall in Mineola to regroup and people meet with him. And I went up to him, shook his hand, and welcomed him back. He says, "Thank you, Chief." But he says, "I just can't wait to get back into uniform and serve and protect this community." He says, "This is all I want to do since I was a little kid." And he worked hard, again, with prayers and him working hard.
So
and
I get that. To do what he's done, he's obviously awesome.
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to get is what kind of stuff did his brothers and sisters on the force do to support him?
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
it was a community effort still.
Absolutely. Well, his brothers and sisters supported him day in and day out, responding to the hospital. We held a position for him because we just knew his commitment, dedication. He was going to come back. We welcomed him back with open arms. And now, like I said, now he's doing great. He's serving on patrol division and actually promoted to corporal. One other thing that he did throughout his training, a lot of officers helped him with his training, get reacclimated.
Oh, yeah.
So he had severe burn. He's right-handed, and he has some severe burn in the web of his right hand. He learned to shoot with his left hand and shoots even better with his left hand.
Wow.
He's ambidextrous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I will actually share really briefly. I was sharing with the chief earlier that one of the things that really impressed me and made me want to bring him on and get to know the Clermont police. This was before the show, actually, like before he even conceived of Joe doing the show, is I saw one of his officers, and when I first noticed them, I thought he was giving this lady a hard time. And it turns out this I don't know who it was. And but he was actually helping this lady who was somewhat dirty. Obviously, I don't know if she was homeless or just. I believe he reached in his own pocket and gave her some money. That doesn't mean anybody should be hitting up cops for money. But he was interacting with her children. He was giving the kids stickers or toys or something. But it was just really struck me almost to tears that that's what a cop should be.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, not. Unfortunately, the 2% of guys that are jerks that we hear about,
Right.
you know, and I could just imagine if I have to have an interaction with a police officer
Sure.
for a ticket or whatever, that's the kind of guy I want. The guy that sees the total person.
Absolutely.
I would like to say, you know, and we've talked about Officer Cruz and Corporal Cruz.
Oh, yes.
And is it Corporal Cologne now? What is
Officer
it?
Cologne.
Officer
Yes,
Cologne.
sir.
You know, I'm sure you have a lot of other fine officers, and I want to make the open invitation on air that if you think there's somebody that I should be putting a spotlight on, and I know the cops in general are pretty humble.
Sure.
Please let me know.
Will do.
And we'll get them on for an interview
Will do.
because, you know, one of the things that's really cool about this is I get to see the person everybody is.
Absolutely.
You know, you've talked about policing, but you know, obviously you're working with the Live Well Foundation.
Sure.
The fact that you work with the Dreamplex, you know, these are people who can't help themselves.
Absolutely.
You know, they can help themselves. They just need a little bit of help.
Sure.
So, you know, I just want to say right here, please, if you know of anybody that needs to be a guest on the show, you let me know, including all your officers.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. Will do.
Well, Chuck, thank you very much.
You,
It's
Joe.
been
Appreciate it.
great
Thank you
having
very
you
much.
here. Look, I think you'll all agree Chief Broadway has been an amazing guest. I'd encourage you to like, love, and share this episode. This is the kind of thing that's really important. Look, all my episodes, I love all my guests, but this is the kind of thing we really need to share and get out into the community so people see what kind of police officers we have, what kind of community we have, and how easy it is to work with them. If you know somebody who should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, you need to reach out to me on the information Jay just put up. If you know somebody who should be advertising here, we have an advertiser spot here. Oh, I forgot. This is your camera. Go ahead and look in here. And if people have any questions about the police department, becoming a police officer, issues, questions, where do they reach out to you?
Sure. You can call us at 352-394-5588 or reach me on my email, cbroadway@clermontfl.org. We are hiring, and we are very transparent. So if you need any information about the Clermont Police Department or want any services provided to you, your community, please don't hesitate to call us and let us know.
Great. As I said, we have a Spotlight sponsorship left available. Please reach out to me if you think your business should be advertising here. I have a secret. Your business should be advertising here. So, and I want to remind you, there is greatness inside you. And as Chief Broadway has so graciously showed us, he's showing his greatness, and he's bringing out the greatness in his officers. Show your greatness today. And dare to bring out the greatness in somebody else. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and I love you. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.